Good morning, students. The next topic in physics we're discussing is gravitation. This gravitation, the Newton's formula of gravitation you already know. The force between the two objects of masses m1 and m2 separated by distance is given by the formula F equal to g into m1 m2 by r square. R is a force is inversely proportional to r square. This is a gravitational force formula given by the Newton. Proportional, actually it is proportional to m1 m2 by r square. G was not given by the Newton, it was calculated by the Cavendish, which value is equals to 6.67 into 10 to the power of minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square you will get. This value is very less, therefore small objects masses force you will not notice much. The gravitational force is only attractive force, not repulsive force. Attraction force sometimes we may mention in terms of negative sign also. Next, relation between the G and G, acceleration due to gravity on the planets. If you check up the relation between the capital G and small g, capital G is the gravitational constant called the universal gravitational constant, and small g is the acceleration produced by the attraction of the planets towards its center, that is acceleration due to gravity we called as them. G is equals to gm by r square. M is the mass of the planet we are taking. So two objects you are taking, one is a small object, another one is the earth itself, small m and capital M. This acceleration to gravity G independent of the object you are taking here. So whether you are taking the small body, air molecules, whatever you take it, the small g acceleration to gravity depends only on the planet dimensions, planet related masses, planet mass and planet dimensions. Planet mass means capital M and r is the radius of the planet. If it is earth, the radius of the earth is 6400 kilometers. Radius of the earth is 6400 kilometers. Approximate value, it is not exactly because it is not perfectly spherical. Radius, average radius we are taking, it is having the valleys and the hills and height. The surface of the earth we take considering the level of the sea level. From there only we consider the heights and the depths. And the earth is not perfectly spherical also, it is having the obloid shape. It's called as the obloid shape. Like this, not perfectly spherical, little bit bulged at the equator and compressed at the poles. Poles are little flatter than the equator. The radius at the poles is less than the radius at the equator by 45 kilometers approximately. Therefore, when r is less, radius is less, automatically g is more. So at the poles, g poles is greater than that of the g equator. So g is not constant all places. We take the average value of the g on that surface, that is the surface value is nothing but equal to 9.8 meter per second square average value we take, but it is not actually constant. It changes with the place to place depending on the density of the metal below the earth's surface, and also density relation if you require, no, density is equals to mass by volume. Considering approximately average radius, no, mass by 4 by 3 pi r cube, rho is the density we can take. It's nothing but equal to approximately equal to 5.5 gram per cc you will get, or 5500 converting into kgs, no, this will be density of the earth material is approximately equal to 5500 kg per cubic meters. That means 5.5 tons approximately you will get. And mass of the earth is capital M we are taking, or any same formula applicable for any planets. G value is calculated by the Atwood's mission or with the help of the simple pendulum. Once you know G, mass of the earth also can be calculated by the similar methods. We using this formula. So G is inversely proportional to r square, but that is on the earth surface you are taking. This is surface. This is on the earth surface. But if you are going at some heights from the earth surface onwards, if you are going height h, then from the center only you need to consider the distances. Center consider distance is smaller and capital is radius r plus h. Wherever capital is there, no, replace that with a small r. Small r is nothing but equal to r plus h you have to take. Small r equal to r plus h. H is the height from the earth surface. So smaller is the distance from center of the earth or planets. So you substitute this is the comparison of these formulas with the earth height and surfaces. At height h and on the surface comparison, if you take the variation of g, gh is equals to gs into r by r plus h whole square. Smaller and capital ratio if you take, you will get this relationship. And this is for the large heights. This formula is used for the case of when h is comparable with the radius of the planet or earth. May not be greater than or equal to even half of the radius, like that given also. Large heights we can take. H values large. We have to use this formula. Next is the formula with the depth is given by with the depth is from the surface you are taking, smaller is distance from the center to any given point. So if you take this distance from the center, if you at a depth d, the acceleration to gravity d is given by the formula gd equal to gs into 1 minus d by r. So if you take the point to the center of the earth, or you are digging the hole, and toward the center of the earth. As you go inwards towards the center of the earth, the G value goes on decreasing. At the center of the earth, exactly if you take it means D becomes equal to R at the center. D equal to R means 1 minus 1 is 0. This is R by R is 1. So G center is equals to 0. Earth's center of the earth, G value is 0. Even the freely falling, in the case of the freely falling lift also, apparent G is 0, not real G. And in the case of the satellites revolving around the planets, orbiting satellites are similar to the freely falling bodies. Inside the orbiting satellite also, apparent G is 0, not real G, please. Apparent G is equal to 0, so therefore person feels weightlessness. Whenever G is 0, person feels weightlessness. So next is rotation of the earth. Rotation of due to the rotation of the earth is spinning about its own axis along the poles, the axis passing through the north pole and south poles, and due to that rotation, you will find the centrifugal force for every object on the surface. That means they are trying to be thrown away due to inertia of direction. The velocity at any point is along the tangent to that point. And we are going to use the term called as latitude angle. The latitude angle is nothing but equal to angle between this given point to the center, the line joining from center to the given point. It is also equal to radius, of course, and the equator. That angle is called as a latitude angle. Symbols can be taken as a lambda, theta, phi, alpha, etc. There is no fixed symbol for this latitude angle. At the poles and at the equator, at the poles the theta becomes 90, at the equator theta equal to 0 degrees. Here it is 0 degrees and here it is 90 degrees. So as a theta changes, the centrifugal force values also changes. The distance from the center, from the given point to the axis of rotation is related to centrifugal force. Centrifugal force, that is a pseudo force actually, is m omega square r or mv square bracket. Omega is constant for this. Omega equal to 2 pi by t. T is the time period of rotation of the earth, that is 24 hours. So time taken for one rotation about its own axis is nothing but equal to 24 hours. So omega is equal to 2 pi by t, angular velocity, and the smaller centrifugal force changes from point to point. At the equator, the distance from the axis is very large. So centrifugal force is also very large. As you go towards the poles, the centrifugal force decreases. At the poles, there is no centrifugal force only because the distance from the axis is 0. The resultant acceleration to gravity, what you can find is g theta at a given angles or latitude angle is gs, this is on the surface, minus omega square into cos square theta. This can be theta, can be lambda, phi, or any symbols you can take it. At the poles, if you take it means cos 90 becomes equal to 0. When theta is 0, g theta equal to gs means this omega is related to rotation speed. Whenever the rotation speed by any reason changes, when the omega changes, this g theta also affected. But at the poles, if you have taken, when your rotation also there also changes is also taking place also, theta is 90, therefore there is no effect on the variation of g on the poles. Poles g remain constant even if the speed of the earth rotation changes. But at the equator, theta is 0. When theta is 0, cos 0 is 1, therefore g theta equal to gs minus omega square r you will get. That means at the equator, the value of the g will be affected due to the change in rotation of the earth. How does the rotation of the earth can change? The water present in that at the poles, ice, if it melts, the ice form, it melts means due to centrifugal force, all the water will flow toward the equator. That R increases, moment of inertia increases. Angular momentum is constant because there is no external torque acting on this. Therefore, that water flows from the poles towards the equator. At the equator, the more water is collected here. The effective radius increases. Whenever the effective radius increases, R increases means L equal to angular momentum, L is equals to mvr, or mv equal to omega r. If you take omega into r square, you will get when r increases, the omega decreases, or if r increases, v decreases. Therefore, the speed changes. Whenever this moment of inertia is changing, L equal to I omega is the formula. We have the conservation of angular momentum relation. L equal to I omega equal to constant. If I increases, omega decreases, speed of rotation changes, decreases. So in this case, at the equator, possibility is that g become equal to 0. Whenever the g become equal to 0, if condition, g equal to 0 if it comes by the change of rotation, then the time period of rotation of the earth formula is this value. Time period of the earth becomes equal to 2 pi under root of r by g, that is equals to 24.6 minutes or 1 hour plus some minutes, 20 minutes something you will get. That is the time period of rotation of the earth it becomes whenever at the g equator, if it becomes 0. That's so fast, only 1 hour, in 1 hour, instead of 24 hours it takes, now it takes only 1 hour to make one rotation. The duration of the day changes to 1 hour plus. Same formula is applicable for the same formula. The same formula repeatedly comes for us. In case if you dig a hole across the along the diameter of this earth, the only imagination, neglecting the rotation of the earth, etc., and any object is dropped into that, that executes simple harmonic motion oscillating to and fro with the same time period t, 2 pi under root of r by g, and the time period of the infinite length of the pendulum of infinite length, if you take, if it makes it oscillator, for that also time period formula is same. And satellite which is close to the earth and is revolving, for that also time period of the rotation is same. This formula repeatedly comes for us in multiple cases. Satellite very close to the earth, the time period of rotation, and earth rotation when g becomes 0 at the equator, and infinite length of the pendulum also same. And a tunnel dug along the diameter, or need not be diameter, along the any chord length of this earth sphere. If you imagine a tunnel dug, the object dropped into that execute simple harmonic motion with the time period equal to t equal to pi r by g. So this formula is very important one, and they don't give generally with values, they ask only these numbers and formula symbols. Next, neutral point. If you take the two objects separated by some distance, that's one more thing I forgot to tell here, comparisons. For heights and depth comparison, they will give you sometimes for the same change in values. This gs comes here, no, gs minus something, you will get a delta g, means change in values. If you have taken, as you go up, g value decreases, as you go in, g value decreases, here it is 0, as you go up, g value decreases. So that at infinite point only, when r becomes equal to infinity, small r you take for the long distances, that at infinite distances, g becomes 0. So g is never be 0 otherwise. Only at infinite distance, whenever the g is there, attraction will be there, and weight of the object appears as m into g. So when g is 0, weight is also 0 only at infinite distances. Infinity is only theoretical, we imagine, practically we don't know that. Next, for the equal changes in the g values from the surface to up and depth is 2h equal to d for the small heights only, for the very small heights. So for the large heights you have taken means this formula you have taken as gh. For small height, g is equal to 1 minus 2h by r. This and this, if you compare, for the small heights variation is 2h equal to d. For 1 kilometer, 2 kilometer, small heights means 1 kilometer, 2 kilometer, like that. To compare the radius of the earth is 6400 kilometers. Just below 10 kilometers we can compare this relationship. 1 kilometer depth, you got some g value, means at what height you will get the same g, means 2h equal to d, h equal to d by 2 you have to take calculation. Next is null point or neutral points, just like the electric field relation, but compared to the electric charges and magnetic forces, no, their attraction repulsion is there, but gravitation only attraction is there, that you have to check up. Formula is similar to the previous cases. For the electric charges, the null point exists from the smaller charge, here smaller mass. So m1 is less than m2, this x is from m1, from m1 and which is less than m2. Close to the smaller mass only null point is found, and at this point g1 is equals to g2, acceleration are equal and opposite directions, attraction towards each other, both will be cancelled. It is a single point place, and because planets are not at rest, this point position keeps on changing actually. X is equals to r by total separation, r by large mass by small mass plus 1. Plus 1 is outside the root you have to take. So if you want to send the satellites or any rovers or any object from one planet to other planet, like Earth to the moon, if you want to send, you just need a fuel to send it from the surface of this Earth surface to this g crossing, just crossing this point where the g equal to 0. Once it crosses it, the other object will, other planet will attract it. Below this point, this first planet attracts. So Earth, the moon, if you have taken, if any rocket you are sending it to the moon, and if it is not crossing this null point, it will come back to the Earth again, possibility. If it crosses this null point, then it is under the attraction of the moon and it goes to the moon. So if you want to send any rockets to the stars or other planets, no, you require fuel energy. Fuel and energy required is only to cross this null point, but this point keeps on changing. So when you send it to this, the other planet or moon, etc., should be in that position to cross this point, because they are not at rest, everything is in motion. Next, this g inside this earth is g inside is equals to, is proportional to r is smaller, is the distance from center to the given point, and g is inversely proportional to r square outside, because proportional to r, the graph must be straight line passing through origin inside, and inversely proportional to r square means rectangular hyperbola you have to get outside. Next is gravitational potential. This gravitational potential is not in your theory points, means not for the case set, but you must know it. They are asking some points, questions, problems not in your direct syllabus. So gravitational potential is defined as the work done to bring unit mass from infinite to the given point near the planet or into the gravitational field. Work by mass. So units you have to take it is equals to, work is joule per kg. The unit we take is equals to joule per kg is the unit of gravitational potential. Work equal to force into distance only. Force is gravitational force of attraction is from the Newton's law, gmm by r square. M1 is m, small m is the object you are taking. Therefore, the result becomes is gmm by small r. Small r is the distance between the two objects. So small objects you are taking, this radius is negligible. So bigger object radius only we need to consider, and the distance from center to center is equals to r. We are taking it. Negative sign we take for the gravitational potential indicating attraction forces. So we have substitute this gravitational potential energy. Work itself is the potential energy. This is nothing but equal to work done. So work is equals to mass into Vg we have to take, which is equals to gmm by r. Next is, if you want to move the object from one point to one height to other points, what is the amount of work done? From rest to rest, not moving from moving object to, we are taking from rest to rest. Work done to move the mass m from height h1 to h2 is W equal to change in potential energy, which is equals to gmm by same relationship, the potential energy 1, potential energy 2, final minus initial, take it up. P2 by P1 means gmm by R2 by R1, because of minus and R1 comes first, later again 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2. This formula you have to remember it. And R1 is nothing but equal to R plus H1, R2 is equals to R plus H2, capital R plus H1 and H2, smaller is the distance from center. So work done is nothing but equal to mg. If you take in terms of small g, wherever this gm is there, your equation gm equal to small g into r square. Small g is the g surface it is. So g is on the surface. If they give on this in terms of the small g, use this relationship. If they give the capital G, use this relationship. But in the ratios, we generally, not in this case required, okay. This part will be cancelled. Next is, if you are taking from the surface onwards means from the surface h1 equal to 0 it becomes. So 1 by r only comes the, so this is minus. From surface means you have to take h1 equal to 0, h2 equal to h. Next, work done to move m from surface h1 to height h2 equal to h is, substituting this relation and modifying this, no, h1 is 0, h2 is h, if you take it means mgh r by r plus h. This is important, very important formula required for the numericals. They will give in terms of the height as r. You are throwing the object, velocity is less than escape velocity condition is compulsory. If you are giving escape velocity means that will escape from the earth attraction, go to the infinite distance, not condition. Again, it sending from one height to other heights. If you are sending to infinity means then h becomes equal to infinity. This h you take it to the denominator, r by h plus h by h, like that you have to take. Next is, if you are taking this from height h to r, from surface to height h. Surface to height h, work done equal to this much. So you are dropping the object from height. So what is the kinetic energy when it reaches to the ground? R. You are throwing the object from ground to that height h. So what is the velocity you are giving? That itself is change in kinetic energy. So you are rest to rest you are taking. So or you are throwing it object means you take it is equals to half mv square. You are throwing up means this is going to be initial velocity. If you are dropping from some height h, what is the velocity touching the ground means half mv square. Near the surface velocity is near the surface. Near surface velocity. So this is very important formula required for the numericals. Next is for the satellites. Satellites are the objects which are revolving around the planets. Planets are the big objects which are revolving around the sun. They are due to the distance or attraction from the planets, they have the kinetic energy and potential energy. The relation is total energy equal to minus of kinetic energy equal to potential energy by 2. Same formula is applicable for the electrons revolving around the nucleus in the atoms. Same formula is applicable even for the planets also. Planets and satellites, these formulas are nearly equivalent. Next, some formulas, not escape velocity, orbital velocities. Okay. Next, E total, this kinetic energy formula from this potential energy already we have taken. From that relation we can calculate the relation as equals to kinetic energy is half mv square, half gmm by r minus gmm by r. If you take this r and r relationship, what you get here is this r becomes equal to r, small r is equals to capital R. You have to take only near the surfaces, very close to the surface. You are taking h is approximately 0. In such cases we take small r is equals to capital R. At any height if it is given, wherever r is there, replace with the capital R, replace with the small r if distance is given. Otherwise take it as a capital R. This is near the surface I given, this is at some height h. So r equal to r, modification I gave you, please check up that intervals. Both are same only for small heights, otherwise it is smaller only you have to take. Next is orbital velocity, that planets, satellites revolving around the planets. The center of the orbit of the circular orbit of or elliptical orbits. Circular orbits or elliptical orbits of the satellite must be having the same center as the center of the earth. Centers will be the common. So you cannot make the satellite revolve like this. It has to revolve around like this, around it, or along like this in any directions, but must be around the center of the planet only. And the centripetal force, what is required for the object to move in circular path, is provided by the gravitational force of attraction. Gravitational force is equals to centripetal force. So gravitational force is nothing but equal to Gm by r square is equals to mv square by r. This v equal to omega r. Orbital means not you have to take. V equal to omega r. Capital R becomes equal to small r for the small distances. So this formula we can write as mv square by r also we can take. This is also equal to m v square by r. This velocity v is called as a orbital velocities. That velocity is called as a orbital velocity. Orbital velocity near to the surface. Near to the surface is nothing but equal to g root of gr. G, if you want capital G, g equal to gm by r square. If you take no, gm by r you will get. So this small m will not be there. Orbital velocity independent of the satellite masses. It only depends on the planet mass. This is only for the planets. And for Earth the value is 7.9 something. You will get approximately equal to 8 kilometers per second is the orbital velocity. Next is escape velocity. If you want to throw any stone into the space, if you don't want it to come back, if it come back, use the relation. If it is not coming back, then the velocity is given to it is called as a escape velocity. It escapes from the gravitational force of attraction of the Earth. Its value is 11.2 km per second near the surface. This is for the Earth surface. This is for the surface, Earth surface. It is kilometer per second, not meter per second. Check up that. So rocket, if you are sending it to the moon or far away from the moon to the satellite stars, it should have the velocity 11.2 km per second. Initially its velocity is less. As it goes up, its velocity keeps on increasing. When it crosses this velocity, then it won't come back. If it do not cross this velocity, again it comes back to the Earth. And after, if you want to make it to the satellite, then after sending to some height, that engine is off and made it rotated by some angle or 90 degrees from the Earth's surface, sent and make it horizontal to the Earth's surface and given a velocity equal to orbital velocity depending on the distance. Orbit r, small r you can take for the large distances, small capital R you can take it close to the Earth, and then it is given the velocity equal to 80 km per second and keeps up orbiting around it. So this velocity, two velocities, orbital velocity, escape velocity, independent of the masses you are throwing it up. So this is small m will not be there, careful with that. Only capital Gm, capital R only. This is for the planets only. You have to take escape velocity. Orbital velocity do not depend on the objects you are throwing into the space. So air molecules you are throwing are big, heavy tons of rocket you are sending into the space to the far and infinite distances. Then escape velocity is equal only. How much it is? 11.2 km per second. Earth has atmosphere because air molecules RMS velocity at high temperatures of the Earth also do not cross this 11.2 km per second. For the moon, escape velocity is very less, 2.5 km per second it is approximately. So because Earth that moon mass is less, r is also less. So escape velocity is very less for the moon. Due to that reason, air molecules on the Earth moon surface, even if you produce by any chemical reactions also, they don't stand there because the escape velocities for the moon is more than RMS velocities. Next, if you already the satellite is in the orbit, you wanted to make it as escape from there to infinite distances. So how much extra velocity you have to provide, they will ask you. And relationship, the direct formula also they may ask. Escape velocity is this root gr is there, root gr is there. Difference is only root 2 terms here today. So root 2 into v naught. Escape velocity is equals to root 2 times orbital velocity wherever it is. Even smaller you take, capital R, you take close to the Earth or far away, same condition is applicable. Root 2 is 1.414 times v naught you will get. Change in velocity required. Extra velocity how much you have to provide is difference of these two velocities, that is 0.414. Whatever units are given, same units you have to use. Percentage means 41.4% into 100 you have to take. And the difference values they may give 11.2 minus 8 difference values, that is extra velocity to provide, then it orbital velocity, object in the orbital escape into infinite distances. Next, geosynchronous satellite, stationary satellite or geosynchronous satellite. Synchronous means, chrono means time, same time period. The satellite which is revolving around the Earth in the same direction. Earth is revolving from west to east in these directions. So when it is rotating in the same direction of rotation you have to take for the satellite also with the same time period of the earth. When time period is same, always it happens to be stationary to the persons on the earth's surface, so it is called geostationary or geosynchronous satellite. The advantage of this satellite is that it remains constant at a given place and continuously takes the photos from the earth's surface, and also used for the telecommunication purposes to send the signals to the TVs for the different locations of the earth. Minimum 3 satellites are required at 120 degrees angles around this. Means around on the about these satellites, geosynchronous satellite must be above the equator only. Compulsory parking orbit is only on above the equator. Above equator, but equator line is not passing through. Equator line is not passing through any part of India, so our Indian geosynchronous satellite INSAT satellites, series satellites are kept near Java Sumatra Islands, that is just below the earth, that land of the India. You will get little below that near Sri Lanka, on the side of the Sri Lanka sides. So there you will find the Java Sumatra Islands, that place our satellites are placed. And any country, if you want to put the geosynchronous satellite, no, the satellites must be above the equator only compulsorily, and must travel from west to east, and the time period of rotation, that is means time period of rotation of the earth is 24 hours. Time period of revolution of the satellite must be also 24 hours. One is rotation and one is revolution, 24 hours. And height of the geosynchronous satellite is 3600 kilometers approximately. It is 36,000 kilometers. 36,000 kilometers or 35,500 something you will get nearly, more accurately. Approximately I am giving 36,000 kilometers. Radius of the earth is 6,400 kilometers. Adding these two, you will get the total distance from the center, that is the radius of the orbit. Radius of the orbit is h plus r equal to r plus h. You can add this, you will get the relation. Next is relative velocities. Angular velocity, relative angular velocities between the satellites and earth. What we see is a relative velocity only for the plane. So this earth velocity omega minus satellite omega. The difference is nothing but equal to relative angular velocity. But for the geosynchronous satellite, this relative angular velocity is 0. For other satellites, there is a difference between the two speeds, and this 1 by time period, 1 by omega equal to 2 pi by t, 2 by 2 pi cancels, 1 by time relative is equals to 1 by t earth minus 1 by t satellites. Only, they don't give you the values, only formula you have to remember. Next point is energy of the satellites, or if you are sending the object from one place to other place, or satellites radius increase, then what happens? If the radius is increased for the satellite has both kinetic energy and potential energy. Due to the height attraction of the gravitational force of attraction, they have the potential energy, and due to the velocity, orbital velocity rotation, kinetic energy. Kinetic energy equal to half m v o square. Kinetic energy equal to half m v o square you have to take. So if you are taking the satellite from one height to other heights, radius increases means the speed decreases. Outer orbits have the low speed than the inner orbits. Similar condition we take for the electrons in the orbit of the atom around the nucleus. But always change in kinetic energy plus potential energy equal to 0, because total energy should not change. If r is equals to infinite, at infinite distance if you have taken, then potential energy is 0. At infinite distance, potential 0, kinetic energy and total energy may not be 0. That depends on the conditions we are going to discuss now. From the surface to infinity, if you are throwing the object, then kinetic energy plus potential energy, this should be constant. At the initial point where you are throwing from the earth surface, for example, at that point you are given the some velocity, means that is kinetic energy half m v1 square. Potential energy at that place is minus gm by r. This is on the surface. If it is not on the surface, capital R replaced with the small r. And at the infinite distances, this is at infinity, equal to 0 at infinite distances. Infinite distance you are taking means potential energy becomes equal to 0. Therefore, at infinity you are taking means this is 0, and at infinite distance velocity can be there. Velocity is 0 means you are giving the escape velocity. If you are giving the escape velocity at infinity is 0, you are throwing it so that at infinite distance after traveling it stops. But infinite distance also it may continue further, means you must have the velocity at the surface more than escape velocity. What is the escape relation between these two is this v infinity. V infinity equal to v square minus v e square is the relationship. This v is on the surface. This v is E is the velocity of escape velocity near the surface. This is the velocity you are giving extra in the near the surface. Then this is the velocity to infinity. And we are going to shift the satellite from one height to other heights. Formula what you have taken before, same formula we can use, but instead of this half comes, because that velocity, that work done is related to the change in kinetic energy half mv square, and change in potential energy also we can take. So by 2 comes here extra, because the kinetic energy also it has by 2 comes because of this reason. But if it is rest to rest means by 2 will not be there. But the satellite movement generally they don't give for the KSAT, till now not asked, rarely asked, but that is mostly repeatedly asked. Next is graphs. Graphs are also important for this topic. If you take the solid spheres or earth, and one more term they use in this gravitational topic is gravitational intensity, like electric field intensity, EG may they mention. And this acceleration to gravity, G is nothing but G. Acceleration to gravity is nothing but the ratio of the weight, means mg by m. It is the ratio of the weight and mass, gravitational weight and mass, the ratio itself is called as the acceleration to gravity. But the gravitational intensity is defined as gravitational force per unit mass. This force itself is acting as a gravitational weight, F equal to mg also comes, but that's why we make G and Eg similar only. There is no difference, but the definitions are different. Formula same in magnitude, but due to the attraction reasons, gravitational force is attractive. So Eg may be taken with sometimes negative sign they will give you. Don't take tension of that. Go only in the graphs terms, that is important. If they give the graphs with related to the Eg, if they are given means negative. Also given term means you choose the negative one. If only positive given means you go for the magnitude, that is positive. So gravitational intensity is the force per unit mass. Similar to the electric field intensity, there is a force per unit charge. We take the gravitational intensity, but G, acceleration to gravity, and gravitational intensity are equal in magnitudes. Magnitude same only, means positive values. Magnitude means positive values. Next, acceleration to gravity, G, is directly proportional to r. R is the distance from center of the planet or center of the solid object. Then G is proportional to r inside, means what you get here is the graph is a straight line passing through origin. So straight line you will get. But outside, G out is inversely proportional to r square. Inversely proportional to r square. So graph is rectangular hyperbola. Rectangular hyperbola outside. And the surface only G is maximum. That too at the poles actually. Next graph is for the hollow sphere. Hollow spheres, the G or small g or capital R, or you can take EG and R also, gravitational intensity, and R are acceleration to gravity and R, similar graphs, but EG negative means downward comes. The G value starts, the value of the G means acceleration to gravity or gravitational intensity starts from the surface maximum, outside inversely proportional to R square, so in rectangular hyperbola you will get. So this is a rectangular hyperbola, and inside it is 0. Why? Because its attraction is all equal, uniform in all directions, the net field becomes equal to 0. And one more thing they ask, G surface is maximum, G inside is 0, G outside inversely proportional to R square. So what is the nature of the graph is rectangular hyperbola. One more thing they ask here is they take the shell, and cut it. So two parts you are taking, whatever the size you take, two parts you are taking here, and this upper part. They will give you in this position the electric field, the gravitational intensity is E1, and inside this gravitational intensity at this point is E2. What is the relation between E1 and E2? They may ask. Inside the shell E is 0 or EG is 0. Therefore, E1 plus E2 is addition is 0. If it is plus units are given means they should be minus. The minus given means plus. Sum of these two must be equal to 0. Same problem can be asked for the electric field also. For the shell with charges on the outer surface, inside electric field is 0. Similar graph you will get for this also. And volume charge distribution of the charges you have taken for the volume charges like nucleus, no. The electric field intensity and the distance from center of that charges sphere, you will get the same. Solid sphere in charges filled inside like nucleus. Same graph you will take. Here also similar graph for the hollow objects. Next is the graph between the gravitational potential and the distance from center. Gravitational potential is defined as the work done to bring unit mass from infinite to the given point. It is a minus jmm by r. It's a negative indicates attraction. So earth, if you are taken, as you go into the earth, the small g value goes on decreasing. As the depth increases, small g decreases. At the center of that, the depth becomes equal to r, g0. At the center, g0, but it is attracted in all directions. If you are going to the depth d, this upper portion attracts away from the center. So the bottom portion attraction, the upward portion attraction. Difference you take the resultant force. So acceleration to gravity g, effective value g decreases here. So as you go inwards, the depth decreases, but force of attraction will not be changing. Force will be there always. So if the object is taken to the center of the earth, then small g equal to 0 at the center of the earth, center g center equal to 0, but attraction is there in all directions, maximum attraction in all directions. Attraction is there means potential energy will be there. Due to that reason, the potential energy at the center is not 0, but it is 1.5 times the potential on the surface. Potential, it is a potential I am telling. Potential energy is what? Into mass. The object you are moving mass into mass itself is nothing but equal to potential energy. Potential is work by mass. Work itself is a potential energy equal to mass into Vg. This is the potential energy we will get, minus Gmm by R. Potential do not depend on the small m, potential energy depends on the small m, and also capital M is the mass of the planet. So at the surface the potential is minus Gmm by R. At the center the potential is 3 by 2 means 1.5 times Gmm by R. Negative means attraction. So at the center potential is not 0, but it will be 1.5 times that on the surface. Okay, negative sign of course, but magnitude is we are comparing here. It is 1.5 times the value on the surface. The graph structure, you know, generally this value is important for us. But G at the center is 0. At this G is 0, but V center is not equal to 0. Its value is 1.5 times on the surface. Next is satellites or planets conditions. We take the similar cases. Some formulas are similar. So wherever V is there, no, you can replace omega. Omega is angular speed. What remains constant where the satellites are revolving or planets are revolving? They revolve around the, if you take the satellite planets, they revolve around the sun in elliptical orbits. Satellites you are sending, they revolve in the around the planets, so we take it. But they move in the elliptical orbits you have taken means the elliptical orbits, planets revolving around the sun in elliptical orbits, keeping the sun at one of the foci, one focus point, two focus point. Two focus points are there for ellipse, but sun will be at another focus points. But for the planets, what we have this, so in the solar system, all the planets have the same foci point as the sun, and all are in the same plane of rotation. We don't know the reason how they settled in that position. Next point is the farthest distance. Farthest distance is called as apogee for any elliptical paths, and for the solar system we call it as aphelion. Helio means the name for the sun, Greek name for the sun. And nearest distance point is called as a perihelion. This is in the summer, this is in the winter. In the winter the speed decreases because R increases. What remains constant is angular velocity remains constant. For the satellites or planets, they revolve around the sun, or satellites, satellites revolving around the planets, or planets revolving around the sun. What remains constant is angular velocity, L remains constant. If R increases, V decreases. M is anyway mass constant, R increases means V decreases, but angular momentum remains constant. Aerial velocity also remains constant. What is aerial velocity? Area swept or made by this radius vector in the given time is called as the aerial velocity or unit time, dA by dt. dA means A2 minus A1, dt means T2 minus T1, time intervals. Is dt is equals to L by 2m. L is the angular momentum constant, mass is also constant, so dA by dt is constant for the given planets, applicable for the satellite also. So this planets revolving in the elliptical orbit is the first law of Kepler, and second law of Kepler is angular momentum remains constant. Third law is time period square is proportional to R cube. And average distance we take from the sun to the satellite planets is that average distance RA plus RP. Apogee distance and perigee distance. Apogee, aphelion, or perigee, perihelion distances. R increases means velocity decreases. If the velocity is not changed, when far away from this sun, the attraction decreases. If the velocity also decreases, if the velocity is increased, the centrifugal force is large enough, it escapes from the attraction. So it is velocity decreases here, velocity increases here. In summer it goes fast, winter goes slow. So due to that reason here, distance traveled is less here, arc length, but R is more here. So but area covered in the time interval T1 and area covered time interval in the T1 in the summer and winter is equal only any time intervals. T1 equal to T2 if you have taken means dA1 is area covered here is equal to dA2 area covered here. Radius less, but this arc length is more here in the orbit. Here radius is more, arc length is less, but dA1 is equal to dA2 in the time interval of T1 and T2s. The average radius equals to RB plus RA by 2, that is nothing but equal to 1 astronomical unit. That is the average distance between the sun and the earth. This is only for the one earth purpose. This is for the earth purpose. For applicable for any other cases, but this is not 1 astronomical unit. Then using this R average only, we take the formula for the circular motion centripetal force provided by the gravitational force of attraction. So gravitational force is Gm by R square equal to m omega square or mv square by R. You can take it for the satellites. If you consider the orbital velocity, no, this V equal to VO it becomes, and omega equal to omega O becomes orbital velocities. Mass cancels, so mass of the planet is immaterial for us. Then omega equal to 2 pi by t, t is the time period of revolution. Rotation means spinning about its own axis. Revolution means rotating around the other object. So here revolution of the planets you are discussing around the sun. So t square, omega equal to 2 pi by t. So omega square is there. After manipulation, what you get is c square equal to 4 pi square by gm into r cube. This m is mass of the sun for the planets if you take. Satellites if you have taken means this m becomes equal to mass of the planets. For planets time period means mass of the sun, and satellites time period means mass of the earth we have to use. But this part is constant if you take, no, t square is proportional to r cube. This is applicable even for the electrons revolving around the nucleus. But their proportionality constant is different, and the centripetal force is provided by electrostatic force of attraction in the case of the electrons revolving around the positive charged nucleus. And this formula t square is proportional to r cube we have to use, because we are using the relation as inverse square law of the Newton's gravitation formula. F is inversely proportional to r square. This is called the inverse square law. When inverse square law is obeyed, n means f is inversely proportional to r square, t square is proportional to r cube. Condition they will give you: if f is inversely proportional to r to the power of n or proportional to r to the power of minus n, then what happens? Then where this r square is there, it becomes equal to r cube, means plus 1 we are adding. If r to the power of n if you have taken, then r to the power of n it becomes, means t square is proportional to r to the power of n plus 1, it becomes t is proportional to r to the power of n plus 1 by 2. This is also multiple times asked point, important ones. Wherever the v is there, no, we can replace with v equal to omega, that already we discussed before. It's not required here. Next we have to work out the numericals.